Ed Brooks and the Sports Prophet. It's about time, man. Where you been?
Oh man, it's been too long. It's been too long. The last, I was actually thinking about this in the shower today, AJ. The last
Oh, you
show.
were thinking about me in the shower.
Yeah,
That's not a good way to start this.
I've been thinking about this show for the last 24 hours, not just the shower. But no, I was thinking about. I don't remember his name, but I remember one of the last shows I did was the first year that the Panthers won the Stanley Cup, right during the football season, right before the hockey season started. And you had a hockey guy on there, and he was given his top 4 or 5 teams that he thought had a chance. And I was on the show with you guys, and I said, dude, you're some hockey expert. What about the Panthers? Like, how do you not include them? And then, sure enough, they've won 2 Stanley Cups since then.
Was it my guy Luch? Because Luch on ice, Luch knows nothing about hockey other than Rangers. So
I think it was Luch. I think so, yeah. And he was pumping up the Lightning and the Rangers, and I was like, what about the Panthers, dude? He's like, oh, yeah, the Panthers too. And then they won 2 cups in a row. So
I think the Panthers are safe for like the next 3 or 4 cups. They got everybody under contract for the next 4 or 5 years.
Brad Marchand came out this week and was basically saying that he never expected them to be able to re-sign him and re-sign all the other pieces. They're in such amazing shape. They're $4 million above cap right now, but Tkachuk is on injured reserve because he had that surgery, so he's out until January. So the money that he makes doesn't count towards the cap. So they have time to make some maneuvers and maybe shed a player that's not really performing well so that they can get that cap down below. But they're set, like you said. I mean, they have an amazing coach. The only real thing that they don't have locked up is Bobrovsky. I think Bobrovsky is only a year or 2 left on his contract. He's an older guy. He's 36, 37 years old. So that's really the only piece they don't have super locked up, but everyone else is locked up for 4 or 5 plus years. Like you said, it's incredible. But here's what blows my mind, and we'll get into football. Obviously, it's a football show today. But what blows my mind is the fact that Zito, their GM and president of operations, whatever his title is, the guy that makes the moves and the decisions, 2 years in a row, the Dallas Stars GM won GM of the year. How does that guy that's put this team together not win GM of the year? It blows my mind. I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't understand it.
I do not know.
But yeah, man, we're back, baby. I'm excited. We got football. So here's another thing I've been thinking about, not in the shower, but I've been thinking about it.
All right.
I know that before you and I did the show together a few years back, you weren't really the biggest college football follower. And I know you say, I got you into college football a little bit. How much college football have you been following since we did a venture together a few years ago?
Last year, a lot. So last year, I'm a trend guy. That's just always been my thing. So I'm still figuring. I got my one trend down for this year in college football. Just bet against FAU because they suck again. And the hype going into the season on FAU is that they were going to score a whole bunch of points, but they were going to give up a lot of points. I don't see them scoring any points, but I see them giving up a lot of points. So right out of the gate, I love is Memphis this week. I love Memphis minus 13.5. But last year, yeah, I was very, we rode Army last year for weeks before the books, before anybody realized how good Army was. Me and my little sidekick last year, Drew, who was really, really good handicapper when it came to college football, we made a fortune on Army and betting against FAU last year. We made a ton of money.
I love those teams on certain years. Like Liberty was that team a few years ago, actually. But Air Force about 4 or 5 years ago, they were a team that was just, you could bank Air Force, you could bank the over in most of their games. So that's the cool thing about that. That's not going to happen in the NFL. I think you could agree with that. You're not going to have like one team you can just slam all year. No. It's very rare in the NFL. In college, when you got 100 games on a Saturday, 80 games on a Saturday, these odds makers, they can't keep up the same way they can with NFL. That's why I love college football so much, just because there's so many opportunities. The more opportunities, the more chances that, remember, it's yes, they use computers and AI to set these lines, but at the end of the day, there's still humans making these decisions. And when you have a human versus a human battle, us versus them, essentially, the more options, the better chance you have of coming up. I have a few college football picks for everyone watching this. I guess we'll jump into tonight and talk about this. Speaking of Army ECU, do you have anything on this one?
I don't. I do not have anything on this one.
So I actually have some opinions on this game. It's not a real trend thing or a stat thing. There is a trend that ECU is 2-0 against the spread this year. I'm sorry, 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games. So they have been covering the spread. And for those people who aren't, super knowledgeable on sports betting, like, people say, well, what does that mean? What that means is that the odds makers are constantly undervaluing them. And when you have a team like you were talking about Army last year, when you have a team that the odds makers haven't caught up with yet and they're undervaluing, then you're always going to have an opportunity to make money. And you got the publics on Army. Army's been doing well. They had a tough game last week against North Texas. I was actually on North Texas on that game, and it went to overtime. And when you have a team that goes into overtime in their previous game, and then they're on a short week, so now they only have a few days to prepare, I love this spot here for ECU. I'm going to be looking at the total. If I had to play the total, I would lean over, but I'm not making that decision yet just because the numbers aren't looking perfect for me yet. But yeah, I really like ECU here. -4.
Where is it? Is it in West Point?
No, it's in East Carolina.
Okay.
It's in East Carolina.
Right.
I would always move. I know this is people that were watching me on your show 2 years ago, they knew my style, but a lot of new viewers, I'm sure, that don't know my style. I'm always trying to get to the key number in football betting. So if I have something that's -4, I want to get it to at least 3. If I have something that's -3.5, I want to get it to 3 or 2.5. I'm not going to buy a line from 5.5 down to 3 or from 5.5 down to 4.5 just for the sake of buying the line. But when it comes to 3, 7, and 10, I want those key numbers. It's going to cost you some extra money. It's a huge argument right now in the sports betting handicapper world because a lot of guys don't buy. But my argument is this: if there's multiple sports books not allowing you to do it, if there's multiple sports books that won't let you move the line or buy the line,
there's a good reason.
Chances are it's an advantage for you. Anything that the sports books don't let you do, chances are it's an advantage for you. Yeah. So that's my play there. I'm also moving big play. I don't know if you have anything on the FSU Virginia game Friday.
I do not, buddy. I do not. Like I said, as far as college football at this point, I'm still getting my feet under me.
Okay. So
all right.
I'll provide the water then, and for you to get your feet wet here. Let's do it.
Right.
FSU,
talk about the Hilltoppers. I hope the Hilltoppers.
No, not this week. Not this week. They're not. They're really not.
That's all I was thinking about in the shower today was the Hilltoppers.
No, man. Maybe in college hoops. I haven't really seen any Hilltopper lines that stood out to me. I haven't bet on them. I haven't bet against them this year. But no, this FSU Virginia game, this is a special game for a couple reasons. FSU is getting a ton of hype right now. They look incredible. They bashed Bama. They're steamrolling. They haven't really played the best teams. They played some kind of second and third rate teams besides Bama. They have Miami next week, who I'm from here, but I'm not like a huge U fan or anything like that. But I love their team this year. But yeah, FSU, everyone's hyped up about them, and they're looking great. They got the new transfer quarterback, Tommy Castellanos. But this Virginia team, they're 7.5-point underdogs at home. They are explosive. They're 5th in total offense. They're 11th in scoring offense, and they're 10-5 in their last 15 games against the spread as a dog. They're 7-1 against the spread against Florida teams. I don't know if FAU was one of those teams, possibly. But I love this Virginia spot here. You gave me a more than a touchdown on a home team that's got a top 10, top 5 offense. Yeah, FSU's great. Yeah, the argument could be made that maybe Virginia hasn't seen a team like FSU yet, but I can't not take these points here. There's no way. This could possibly be my favorite game of the week. There's no way you can't take these points here. And
all right,
guys,
so can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
All right, so with FSU, and there's a lot of hype, is this the same team as USF, where there was a ton of hype going into the UM game last week for USF, that they were a top 25 team and they were legit, and then they got their asses kicked by
you're saying is there that type of hype for FSU?
Yeah, I'm saying, are they on that same level? Because FSU was horrible last year.
No.
And now they're not. But
they're not on
really
the same.
Know?
Because they're a bigger. So college football is all about programs, right? So the reason why a school like USF can have some of these Cinderella stories and Cinderella. Remember UCF a few years ago when they went undefeated and they beat Auburn in a bowl game. So the reason why some of these Florida schools can do well like this, there's and you know this because you cover a lot of Florida sports. There's a massive talent pool in the state of Florida, massive.
Yeah.
So there could be great players that go completely overlooked. A great example of that is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
He was a Florida high school guy.
Right next door. Play right next door to where our studio is.
Yeah. Florida high school guy. He went to Louisville. I mean, they're not, some top 25 program. I mean, they're a decent school, but it's because other schools overlooked them because there's so much talent in the state of Florida. So back to USF, these guys, they can pick up some really good players that the UMs and the FSUs and the UFs overlook. But no, you can't compare FSU to USF because USF is in that big three category, UM, UF, FSU. USF is not in the big three category. FSU is. Mm-hmm. So the top Florida recruits, there's a much better chance they're going to a school like FSU, UM, or the University of Florida, which is why you can't compare FSU to USF. Now, that being said, I think the fact that they play Miami next week, it's a look-ahead game. And you know what I mean by look-ahead game. They're looking at Miami already. They're already worried about Miami. They're already thinking about Miami. So I think it's a perfect spot because of multiple reasons. I think Virginia's a solid team. They have a great offense. And I think FSU is going to be looking to Miami next week and maybe not worrying so much about Virginia, about covering the spread. Maybe they win by a field goal. Maybe they sleepwalk through the first half, and maybe they're down to Virginia by 7 at halftime, and then they wake up and say, oh, shit, we actually have to go and beat this team. And then, yeah, they beat them, but only by a field goal. And that's how teams like Virginia cover a spread like this here at home.
All right. So what am I locking Virginia in at then?
7.5.
7.5. All right.
Got to get it at 7.5. Got to buy that hook. I think it's at 7 right now.
And for people that don't go back years when we started this thing, let's tell them why the Sports Profits, and how you've been doing this. Let's say, because there's a whole, there were 7 people back then. Now there's thousands and tens of thousands that tune in. So
I forgot about that. Yeah. No, I've been doing this as a career for very long time, going on my second decade, and it's what I love. It's what I eat, sleep, and breathe, and I have a team around me. It's not just me. It's not just Teddy Brooks. I'm the guy on camera. I'm the guy in the videos, but I have an office full of people right over there, right on the other side there. So, it's about a team. There's a lot of people. Here's the one thing I will say. I don't look at any other sports betting consulting company as competition. The only competition is the sports book. They're the books. Those are the competitions. And there's a handful of people. Do you golf, AJ?
No, I haven't in a very long time.
There's a group of guys down here in Florida. A lot of the handicappers happen to be down here. And I've been, doing some stuff with them, talking to them. I want to do a golf tournament. I want to do a South Florida handicapper golf tournament eventually, maybe after this football season. But my point is, there's thousands of people trying to get into this industry now. I was doing it before sports betting was legal. When I started doing this, all of my clients either use an offshore sports book, which I still like more than the legal ones, even though I rep the legal ones. The offshores really aren't technically illegal anymore. It's more of like a gray thing. So everybody that I was working with when I first started doing this was either using a bookie or an offshore sports book. Now that it's become legal and now that it's become kind of mainstream and it's on TV, thousands of guys are trying to be handicappers and consultants. So you say, why me, or why someone should use my company? I would say use a company that's been around. If the kid in the video, I'm 40 years old, 40 plus. If the kid in the video looks like he's 24,
I'm
don't
40
pay.
also.
Don't pay him. Yeah. Don't pay him, guys. That's where I'm at with this. Don't pay a guy that's, you're better off. Here's my best advice. You're better off following my free plays on my Instagram than you are paying most other companies. But that being said, there are some really good companies out there that I have a ton of respect for. And hopefully I'll be getting them on this show. My boy Juru, he's down in Boca. I've known him for a long time. He's very good at what he does. The two dudes that I do my other podcast with, TK and Scotty. I think you've dealt with Scotty. You've spoken to Scotty before. You might know him a little bit or had a conversation with him at least. I'm not sure.
Possibly.
He's got the slick back black hair. He knows a couple of the guys
Okay.
But those two, there's a young kid that I do have a ton of respect for. His name is Zach Smacks. Zach Gordon, I think his name is, but his company name is Zach Smacks. The problem with Zach Smacks is he's a huge fan. And sometimes I look at his plays and I can see his fandom getting in front of his analytical mind. But that'll fade after time, because I dealt with that same thing when I was in my 20s doing this. So, but yeah, there's a lot of good companies out there doing this. There's a lot of shitbags. If you see a guy on Instagram and he's holding stacks of cash and he's got all the gold on and he's standing in front of these cars, chances are he's either renting that stuff or he's doing some kind of other scam to make money, to make it look like he's making the money betting on sports. Fort Manny Bets. Have you ever heard of that guy? Not Fort Manny. I'm sorry. Mozzie VS. You ever heard of him?
No, but I do have $100. So listen to me on FAU. All right, right here, $100. That's what I got. That's what I'm carrying.
What do I got? I got a 10 here. Let's stack it up. No, I'm just kidding. So this guy Mozzie VS, he had a big sports betting page on Instagram for a long time, and he just got arrested. He got caught with multiple IDs and credit cards. He was running an identity theft scam. I don't know the details of it, but basically he was doing something besides sports betting to make money, and he was using that money to make it look like he made a lot of money betting on sports. So guys, if you're going to pay a company, make sure they know what they're talking about. If all they're talking about is money and flashing money, and they can't get on a show like this and break down some games and be a little bit analytical, and they don't know what they're talking about, just stay away. But, people like shiny objects. People like flashy objects. You know this. It's human nature.
So a smart bettor can just go on your Instagram and you've got literally years worth of history of free picks.
Yes.
You put out.
Well, in the right near the pandemic time, I think it was 21. You probably know the story, but all the new people don't. I was much more controversial political, and the platforms weren't as accepting. So I had a page running from 2017 to 2021 that got taken down because I went on some political rants when they were shutting everything down for COVID. I was trying to stand up against it, and I kind of got out of my sports betting lane and I got into my political lane, and I did it at the wrong time. Now you can do it.
Well,
Now
that's why we're in different studios, because you won't get vaccinated, and I just won't let you in without seeing your vaccination card. So
yeah, that was even before the vaccine. I was just talking against the shutdowns. Like, why do we have to stop basketball? Why do we have to stop golf? Golf is outdoors where, like, people don't even touch each other. Like, why did we stop golf, guys? Come on. But yeah, so I was saying this stuff on Instagram, and I got my Instagram axed. So this Instagram, I think it dates back to like 21, somewhere around there. So yeah, you're still getting multiple years. And the cool thing now about Instagram, before, if you really wanted to track what I was giving out, you would have to watch every single video. But now they have the thing called the broadcast channel, which I'm sure you're well aware of. So you join that broadcast channel, you don't have to watch the video. When I put the free games in there, which I'm going to do for today after we get off this show, when I put the free games in there, you get a notification.
Mm-hmm. So how do you limit? So I'm a guy, I don't know. I start following you. Are you going to limit my free plays that I can watch every day, or I can just sit back and
if you join that channel, you're getting free plays for life. Wow. And they're hot right now. We're 11-2 in our last 13. Once again, someone can go right in there and see that for themselves. I don't sit here and talk about records of games that people can't see. So when that's another thing that I do that I think makes me a little bit different, is when I get online and I say, guys, we're so hot right now. I'm not talking about games that you can't see. I'm talking about games that are there, that I posted, and that are there for the whole world to see. And I actually made a post 2 days ago in my story, and I said, thousands of companies out there, I think only 5 to 7% give out daily free games. And those are the ones I have respect for. Even if I don't know the page, if they're giving out daily free games, if they're getting in front of a camera and going in their chat and they're giving out daily free games, they're not afraid and they're confident. And that's what it's all about.
We'll hard put all this into next week's show moving forward, but where on IG? What is the IG? Where are they finding you?
Okay, yeah, if you want to put it in the description, but it's the THE _ profits PROPHETS _ pick, no S after pick.
Okay.
Now here's something else that has changed since we last worked together, AJ. I probably have 20 or 30 imitation pages. Guys trying to pretend to be me, trying to get people into a Telegram and scam them out of $20-$30. We have the blue check mark. If you don't see the blue check mark, it is not us. So that's something that we didn't have a couple years ago that we now have. If you do not see the blue check mark, it is not our company. Don't do anything with them. Yeah.
And the main place to find you on social, is it IG?
It is IG. Yeah, okay. It is IG. I was on TikTok. They kept removing my link. I got pissed off at them. I said, screw you, TikTok. I do post on YouTube also, but the thing with YouTube is IG is where it's all at. It's because YouTube doesn't have like a channel the way IG does, where I can just post something every day, or not that I know of at least. So it's just, I tell everybody, if you want to really get everything that I'm doing, go to Instagram.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Killer.
But back to the games, man. Because this one I'm fired up about. This is one of the big plays of the week. There's really two big college football games: Georgia, Alabama, and LSU Ole Miss. The Georgia Alabama game, that's a tough game. I think that game could go either way. Now this LSU Ole Miss game, I've been talking about Ole Miss all season. I've been in love with them. I've been riding them. I think they only let me down one time out of 3 or 4 games. They had a really close game against Kentucky. They didn't cover the spread against Kentucky. But, my biggest concern for Ole Miss the whole year was their defense, because their offense is, no questions about their offense. It's explosive. My biggest concern the whole year was their defense. Their defense looked great last week, AJ. So now I look at this game. They're playing LSU. LSU beat Clemson, and they got a lot of love for beating Clemson. But now that we're really seeing who Clemson is, that win week 1 doesn't look as impressive. They beat Florida, but then Miami came in and beat Florida way worse. So now that win doesn't look as impressive. So I look at this LSU team, and they have a great quarterback. They have potentially the best quarterback in college football. Probably not doing as great as people thought he would be. He's kind of slipped a little bit. He still might be number 1 in the Heisman odds. I don't know if you want to check that for me. Heisman odds there. And while you're checking that, Trinidad Chambly is Ole Miss's backup quarterback. Austin Simmons got hurt. Trinidad Chambly came in. Everyone was concerned, and now they have a quarterback controversy because now Trinidad Chambly is looking better than their original starter. So this team's firing on all cylinders. I think Ole Miss just absolutely blows it away here. Let me check the current line. This is a 3:30 game. Yeah, so I mean it's a pick 'em pretty much. Ole Miss is like a 1.5 point favorite. I love Ole Miss here. I love the well, I don't love that anymore. I'm not even going to say that, but I love Ole Miss here. And you got a classic coaching matchup here. You got Brian Kelly, 2 offensive geniuses really for both teams. Brian Kelly for LSU and Lane Kiffin for Ole Miss. But as the new saying is, and by the way, Lane Kiffin has a ESPN special, 60-minute special coming out. But yeah, I'm riding the Lane train here, AJ. And I'm taking Ole Miss. And then my last play in college football, I'm taking San Diego State -3 versus Northern Illinois. Cal looked like a great team the first couple weeks of the year. San Diego State absolutely shut them down last week, 34-0. And I just don't think this Northern Illinois team. Northern Illinois faced Holy Cross last week. So this is what you got to look at. Holy Cross is not even an FBS team. They're an FCS team. So it's not Division II, but it's like you have 130 FBS teams, and then you have like that next tier down, which is FCS. And Holy Cross is an FCS team, and Northern Illinois only beat them by 2. So I love San Diego State -3, road favorite here. If you have 3.5, same thing, move it to 3 and lock that in. And that's what I have for college. All right,
why is that line so low?
Well, you got to remember they always give like 3 points for the home team. So if you have a road team that's -3, that really means that the odds makers believe that they should be -6 if it was like a neutral site game.
Right.
And then if they were home, they might be -8 or 9.
Okay.
So typically the line's you're gonna have your neutral line, and then you're gonna get like 2 to 3 points home and away.
Got it. Okay. And when is that game? The Saturday?
So both of the Saturday games I gave are both at 3:30.
Okay.
That ECU Army game is tonight. So it's only going to count for the guys that are watching this right out of the gate. So that's why I watch these shows fast and quick. Keep your notifications on. I'm sure a lot of people do. But yeah, these are the type of games where I will say this. I don't love my NFL picks the way I love these college picks this week.
Okay.
You got to give me a break here on some talking. I want to hear what you're liking in NFL because I'm done with college after that.
Yeah. So NFL. Let me pull up this week's games right here real quick. Well, let me ask you this: as far as the Niners, all right. So a play that I put in preseason was I got a futures on the Niners over 9.5 wins. And what are we 3-0 right now? 3-0. Everybody is hurt. And when I tell you everybody is hurt, literally everybody's hurt. You got Purdy hurt. Now, who's the backup for Purdy? The backup's out.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones. He's hurt too.
Is he really?
Yes.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
Bosa's out. The receiver.
Kittle's out.
Bosa's out for the year. The receiver that we're waiting to come back, Ayuk, He's not even close to coming back. But yet we're still 3-0, and I still like my 9.5.
How could you not? It can only get better.
Yeah, and CMC is not 100% healthy right now either. So these guys got time to bring this together. I had them over 9.5, but I also had them because I saw this as the closing of the window for them, because they've been in this window for so long to win the Super Bowl that I think this is the year they got to put all these pieces together. That being said, what do I like? Here's I'm going to give you a tough one right out of the gate, and I'll ask you: the Jets or your Dolphins? I mean, these are like the battle of the bums right here. Who do you? Miami, historically, the last couple of years.
AJ, you had to pick the shittiest game of the week.
Well, but because it's the hardest. So with Miami, the trend the last 2 seasons was Miami beat the hell out of crappy teams, but could not beat a good team. Well, so far this year,
they can't beat any team.
But they covered against Buffalo by 0.5 point last week.
They did.
I didn't see that coming. I thought they were going to get stomped by about 30 points. In Buffalo.
So you're a trend guy. There were a lot of trends. I actually posted some trends last week. They actually didn't perform well. They weren't picks. They were just trends. And then what I did was I posted the trend, and then I posted teams that applied to that specific trend. So I posted 6 trends, and I posted teams that applied to that trend. And the only 2 out of there were 8 or 9 things that applied to that trend, and only 3 of them hit, and the Dolphins were one of them. You got to understand, 13 points, 12 points, it's a lot in the NFL. It's a lot in the NFL. It's a lot when you have a short week. And the Dolphins had a couple good-looking drives. They moved the ball. They put a couple drives together, but they can't put a game together. I made a comment on my Instagram recently. I think Tua is the worst starting quarterback in football right now. I mean, you could argue against it. You can argue and you can say that Spencer Rattler is worse, right, for the Saints. I mean, you could definitely make arguments of people being worse, but I could tell you this: Tua is. You can't argue with me that he's the most overpaid player. Forget about quarterback, most overpaid player in all of football. I mean, he's making $50 million a year, and he looks absolutely terrible. He scrambles when no one's chasing him. He runs from invisible air. You saw the videos. What are you running from, Tua? What the hell are you running from? I think. Thank you. I think that he's scared of taking another one of those hits, and it's fucking them all up. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here. I'll
say whatever you want
from it. But I think he's taken all those hits, and it's ruined him. I don't think he was elite before he took the hits, but he's definitely not better after taking the hits. I think it's messing with his head. I don't think he has CTE necessarily. I just think the fear is there, and he's not really able to do. He had a style that he played. That style caused him to get concussed, and now he's trying to switch and change, and he's done. He's fried. I think he's going to make a good backup. I just don't think he's the guy. And you were calling this, AJ. I got to give you your props. You were calling this years ago. You were calling this.
Sure.
I think so, right?
I always thought he was garbage.
You were calling it. When they had their great year, you were calling it that this guy stinks, and you called it, and listen. We all keep receipts, and I have those receipts from you calling Tua garbage.
I think they played the Broncos, and they ran up 65 points or something on the Broncos one week, and everybody had them going to the Super Bowl. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. The Broncos suck. The Dolphins just suck a little bit less.
Yeah.
Play somebody good. And Chargers, Giants. And again, this is too early for me. I'm still trying to figure out what my trends are, but I like the Chargers. I got good feelings about the Chargers this year. Anybody who has good feelings about the Giants, I think, needs to have their head examined. Philly Tampa is a good game this weekend.
So the Chargers are playing the Commanders this week. Are you saying Chargers?
No, the Chargers. The Chargers are at the Giants this week.
Oh, my God. I'm looking at October 5th. Holy shit. Oh, give me a second. All right, September 28th. Okay, I had my October 5th games up. I do look aheads, too. That's why. So that game, here's what I'll tell you. Chargers all day, but whenever a new quarterback comes into play, I will not bet that game.
Okay.
So just by rule, I will not bet a game because number one, I think I called Jackson Dart coming in. So after week one, Jackson Dart's rookie of the year odds went from plus 2,500 to plus 2,000. They got better. So that was the odds makers seeing, okay, Russ doesn't have what it takes. Dart's going to be coming in. Let's adjust these odds in case he comes in and lights it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, he could come in and have issues. It would be completely normal. It would be expected for him not to just be able to come in and set the world on fire. So it would be expected for him to come in and have issues. But there's always that slight chance he can come in and just absolutely be the star of the show, and they have this close game. So for that reason, I won't bet the game, but I love the Chargers this year. I actually, on my other show, I had the Chargers and the Broncos finishing ahead of the Chiefs in the West. That's how much I love both of these teams this year. But when they faced each other last week, I took the Chargers over the Broncos. But I love the Chargers and Justin Herbert. I love the Broncos and Bo Nix. So that's why I just wouldn't bet the game just because of that. And what was the other one you asked me about?
Philly and Tampa.
So Philly and Tampa. Once again, another quarterback I love is our boy Baker May. But I haven't really done a deep dive into this game. But I would say, based on the line movement, based on what I'm seeing, I'm looking at a couple sports books and I'm seeing the line moving towards Philly. So it opened up at -2.5 Philly, and now it is -3.5 Philly. Let me pull up a little betting split action here. So I'm looking at the DraftKings betting splits for this game.
Mm-hmm.
55% of the public tickets are on the Eagles, and 87% of the money are on the Eagles. Circa pretty much 50-50 across the board. So what I would say to that game, I would have to lean Eagles. It's not an official play, but I would have to lean Eagles. I mean, the thing is, though, these are two offenses – and the line went down. Wow, interesting game. 80% of the public on the under here, but these are two offenses that can be great. Probably another game I wouldn't bet. I mean, these are just tough games. Like you said, one game that I love, this is a big matchup. I love the Ravens against the Chiefs. I made a big play at the beginning of the year on the Chiefs under the win total.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a feeling that this wasn't going to be their year. The way they lost that Super Bowl, the way they got demolished in that Super Bowl. Let's not forget the Chiefs last year. Yeah, they made it to the Super Bowl, but they could have easily missed the playoffs if some certain things didn't go their way, right? Like, they had a lot of close games coming down to little plays at the end that just everything, the ball just bounced their way every time. And if the ball didn't bounce their way every time, they might not have even made the playoffs. And I think those what's the saying? The chickens are kind of coming home to roost now. I think this is their year to have a little bit of a decline. Not to say it's going to last forever, but I think it's a year to have a little bit of a decline here. I just think the Ravens are better at every position. The Ravens, their defense worries me a little bit, but I think the Ravens have a better running back. I think they have better receivers. I think right now Mark Andrews is a better tight end than Travis Kelce this year right now. I'm not saying Travis Kelce wasn't great. I don't know where his head's at right now with the whole new fame and the podcast and Taylor Swift, but give me Mark Andrews over Kelce any day of the week, and both of these teams use their tight ends big time. So I think, head coaching, I would give it a 50-50 split. Quarterback, I still think Mahomes is probably the better quarterback, but if you're not getting the protection and you don't have the weapons, you could be the best quarterback ever. Dan Marino, a lot of people still think he was the greatest of all time, just pure mechanics, raw numbers wise, but he didn't get the job done winning wise because he didn't have the right pieces around him.
Is it safe to say that the Chiefs were the, how do I put these words? The Chiefs were the luckiest good team we've ever seen. Meaning,
Last year?
and the year before that also, because the ball had to bounce their way. They had no receivers the year before last year, and they made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I mean, Mahomes just pulled rabbits out of his hat repeatedly, but at some point, your hat's going to be empty.
I would say last year, I believe they were very, very lucky. The year before,
and I said they're good. They were good. I never said they weren't good.
Yeah, the year before, I don't think the year before was as much luck as last year. I think it was Mahomes' raw freaking talent. I mean, that guy is a workhorse. He's a stud. I have nothing but respect for him. So, but I will say last year they were extremely lucky, like super extremely lucky. Yeah. And then their luck ran out in the Super Bowl, and it was an absolute blowout. So
now, is Sports Profits, you guys just focused on football right now? Are you giving out baseball? Are you giving out, do you have an MLS or EPL or anything like that? Or
no, we're doing some baseball. I found a new system for props. I just kind of put together towards the end of the baseball season. I wish I put it together at the beginning of the baseball season because it's been crushing. So yeah, I've been putting out a lot of baseball props on my page.
Okay.
You know, I had somebody under 1.5 bases yesterday. I don't remember who it was now, but yeah, I had a 1.5 under 1.5 bases play yesterday. Harrison Bader in the Phillies Marlins game, under 1.5 bases. So yeah, I've been playing like under 1.5 bases, under a half a run, but that's why, you know, people need to use different sports books to use all these things. That's why we have the books like Legendz and BetMGM. I think we're going to have the links on here. Like, guys, if you're in California or Texas and you don't want to just do player picks and you want to use something like Legendz is a really good site for that because they give you a lot of options. So I got a lot of players in states where sports betting is technically not regulated yet. They use Legendz and they're able to bet whatever they want. I think they might put like a 500 or 1,000 a game cap on these plays. I'm not positive, but you know, most people really aren't doing much more than that anyway. Most guys that are watching these videos are $100 guys, $50 guys, $200 guys. So yeah, I mean, Legendz is great for that.
We didn't talk about this beforehand, but the funny thing is, on one of these other Better, I use Better a lot. I haven't lost a bet on Better in about a month, and I go every day. Now I'm not going big, but I'm going $20, $30, and sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, sometimes I'll have 5. I mean,
now you sound like one of my clients, AJ. We call these guys up, and they're like, "What sports book do you use?" And they're like, "Oh, I use this one because I always win on it." I'm like, "Well, you know that's because of you and not the sports book."
Yeah.
But with these newer sites, I'll give you a perfect example. Rutgers quarterback, you're gonna love this one. Athan Kaliakmanis. I think he's Greek. He's the Rutgers starting quarterback. I love the under on his rushing prop last Thursday. It was under 12 rushing yards. I would say only about 40% of my customers were able to get it in because so many places are blocking college player props because they're afraid of cheating. They're even investigating the Green. I don't know if this is true or not. Did you see this? That they're investigating the Green Bay Packers for last week's loss because there was so much money bet on the game or something like that. I don't know if it's true.
I might have heard something, but
I think it's like anytime there's a bunch of money on something now and some crazy plays happen in the game, there's going to be an investigation into the game. It's a little bit ridiculous.
I'm personally, as a side thing though, I'm enjoying, and again, it's not a lot. Like last night I made a $5 bet, but I doubled the money. And then there was a $10 bet and it paid out $27. And then there was another $10 bet that paid out $27.50. And to me, these are they're kind of easy. You just take a look at, all right, well, you know what, Judge. All right, he's going to get a hit. Or last night was pitchers. Last night I had Fried pitching for the Yankees last night, and Skeens. And Skeens was 6.5.
Let me ask you a question. With Better, do they have
4.5? How do you not? That's easy money.
Oh, so
Four
they're
and a half
giving
strikeouts.
they're giving better number. Excuse me. They're giving better numbers.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it. And something else trending that we've been on. So last year, somewhere around Thanksgiving, I told everybody, I said, just bet on OKC for NBA. I said, just bet OKC every single game for the rest of the season. You'll lose a few times, you come out ahead. Look what happened. Something that I discovered this year, like you introduced me to college football a few years ago. I got introduced to soccer now. An absolute lock is just bet Messi to score an anytime goal every time they play. You'll lose once or twice, but he's always going to score a goal. The problem is he's minus 150 to score a goal. So what you do is you take Messi to score 2 goals, which you say, "Oh, that sounds kind of crazy." But the odds then jump to like plus 325. And he scored, they call it a brace in soccer. He scored 2 goals, 6, I think, out of the last 8 games.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that minus 150 because this is something that I think everybody that's betting on sports needs to understand this. And I have a chart. It's not a full chart, but there's enough examples on my Instagram page. And it basically says what percent you need to be hitting at to be profitable at, minus 110, minus 130, minus 150, minus 200. So at minus 150, if you're hitting above 60%, you're going to be profitable. So, what I would say to the whole minus 150 thing, guys that are scared of minus 150, is if you think something's going to hit 8 out of 10 times and it's minus 150, or even 7 out of 10 times and it's minus 150, it's 100% worth it because you're still getting positive value on that play. So I'm not afraid of minus 150s if I think it has a very strong chance of hitting.
I like these sure things, and that's what I'm liking with these daily fantasies. Is I go, look, I see Skeens 4.5 strikeouts. Yeah, it's his final start in his Cy Young season. Of course, he's going to go over 4.5 strikeouts.
That was yesterday, right?
That was yesterday, and then the Yankees.
Cashed?
Was that?
It cashed.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how many strikeouts he ended up with, but he ended up with 7, and it was 4.5. And then I had Freed for the Yankees over 6, and he ended up with 7. They were playing the White Sox. The White Sox, they start the game with like 6 strikeouts, usually the White Sox. So
brutal, man, brutal. Hey, at least they actually hit their win total. They went over on their win total this year. Pretty handily too. Their win total. So on our they're over their win total by 5 right now. On our show, on my other show that I do, we talked a pretty interesting question was posed. Who do you think has a better chance of going over their win total? And this was maybe like the first week of the season, second week of the season. The White Sox over 53 wins, or the Dodgers, and the Dodgers number was like over 101 or 102 wins. And on the show, we all said the White Sox because, and you know this, AJ, you're a big baseball guy. It is hard to win 100 games in baseball. It is hard. I mean, it doesn't happen a lot. It's hard to do.
And are there any teams? There's no teams in MLB that won 100 games this year.
No,
right?
That's what I'm saying. It's hard. It's very, very hard. I think the closest team is Milwaukee, and they have like 96, and there's only 4 games left. Like, probably not going to do it. I mean, how many games are left for most teams? Like 4, 3, 4?
3 or 4 games. Yeah. Milwaukee's got 99 and 60, so they got 159 in already.
Oh, they have 99 wins?
No, I'm sorry, 96. No, I'm just adding. They're 96 and 63, so I'm carrying the 3 over to the 96 to make it 99 and then 60.
Yeah, so they can't even hit 100, even if they win out. It is a very hard thing to do. I mean, teams do it. Obviously, teams have done it. Who do you like, real quick? I know we're running out of time here. I have my World Series pick. It's not popular, but I just like these. I love the Mariners. I really do. I really love the Mariners. I love their starting pitching. I love the bats that they added with adding Eugenio Suarez and everything that they've done. Their starting pitchers, Wu. I can't name them all right now, but Wu just stands out because he's Asian, and I love betting on Asian pitchers. But the only thing that worries me about the Mariners is the bullpen. They have like a kind of middle
coming in now.
What's that?
They're 9-1 in their last 10, so they're the hottest.
They're coming in
into
hot.
it.
They're coming in real hot. They're actually favored to take the. They're favored to take the AL. They're favored to go to the ALCS.
Wow.
Or to go to the World Series from the AL.
Um,
But then on the other side, I mean, I have no clue, man. I mean, I guess the Brewers just because they've been solid, but I really have no idea. Who do you think?
I've been on the Brewers for about a month or two now. I like the Phillies. What's amazing is that the Marlins are not yet mathematically eliminated. They can still make the playoffs. I think they have 4 games left, and they're 4 games behind. So
What would have to happen? They'd have to win out.
everybody would have to lose. Every other team would have to forfeit. The Marlins would have to win, but just still to go into the final weekend and not yet be eliminated. I kind of dig the Yankees though, man. I feel like we go back right after the trade deadline. They were ready to fire Cashman, fire Boone. Boone should have been fired years ago. But when they put all these pieces together in the bullpen and the bullpen blew up and it was like, this is it for the Yankees. They've put themselves back together. And this morning they're tied with Toronto and they could win the AL. They could still get the 1 seed in the East. The Yankees can. I'm thinking maybe a Yankees Phillies, but the Brewers are going to be tough. The Brewers are going to be tough.
Yeah. I mean, the Yankees always seem to make a run this time of year, right? The last few years. They're impressive. I think maybe the biggest story is how Detroit's just pummeling down and collapsing.
That's horrible. It's
mind-blowing. It really is. It's kind of sad. They were a cool team to watch, but hey, it is what it is, man. Yeah, I think I'm making my prediction. I mean, we have a couple games left before the playoffs start, but I think I'm making my prediction to be the Mariners and the Brewers. I just see some different talent in it this year. Like, I don't know how much the MLB would love that. I think they would much rather have a Yankees-Phillies World Series than a Seattle-Milwaukee World Series. Not the biggest markets, but
definitely not the biggest markets.
Yeah, but hey, look, the markets for the finals weren't that great. Game 7 got good ratings, but the rest of the games didn't. But who knows?
We got for San Diego also. I think San Diego is going to do something in this postseason. You got another book that you guys work with a lot, right?
BetMGM. Yes, sir. BetMGM. I recommend BetMGM for my guys that bet a little bit bigger, be able to move a little bit more money. The really cool thing about BetMGM is you see it right there. You can, that first bet, you load that account up with $1,500. Even if you're not a $1,500 bettor, you load the account with $1,500 and you bet the whole damn thing on one play. Because if that play loses, then you get back 5 $300 bets, free bets to make on whatever you want. It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. What really blows my mind is people that are, I mean, listen, if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. I understand. But if you have the money, load the $1,500 up. If you're going to be betting that money eventually anyway, load it up, put it on one game, and if you win, you just doubled that $1,500. Awesome. If you lose, you have $1,500 in 5 bonus bets that you can make you can grind that $1,500 back.
What if I only have the 100? What if I don't have 15? Can I put 100 in and will they give me the 100 back if I lose it?
You can put 100 and you get 5 $20 bonus bets back if you lose.
Beautiful. So you can't lose your first bet, basically.
You cannot lose your first bet. But if you just keep losing, then eventually you're going to lose the money. But if you have confidence that you can bounce back, and the cool thing about it is you get 5 bonus bets. So whatever number you deposit, you get 5 bonus bets divided by, so you get that number divided by 5. And the cool thing is you can put it all, like you can take 3 of the bonus bets and put them all on the same bet. Or you can put all 5 on the same bet. Or you can put all 5 on 5 different bets. So that's what's cool about it.
And they got Jeter now as the spokesman. I mean, look at this.
No, well, they have Jeter. They fired who was the other guy? Jamie Foxx. They had.
Yeah, they had Jamie Foxx, and then they had some.
They have John Hamm now.
Oh, John Hamm. Okay.
Mad Men.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Which I just watched a few months ago for the first time ever. I loved it.
Okay.
But yeah, am I frozen to you? Because I can't see you moving at all.
No, you're good.
Now you're moving.
You're good.
But yeah, man, I'm excited. Big week of football. There's a lot of games. We got the Ryder Cup coming up. One last thing I'll say is go USA. These Europeans, man, they're talking so much smack. You know, it's one thing if you're going to talk smack about the American players, but these European golfers are coming on interviews and talking shit about American fans, saying the same thing Europeans always say about us. We're loud, we're obnoxious, especially that Northeast type, because it's in Long Island. It's in Bethpage Black in Long Island. And these Europeans did not have kind things to say about not the players, but us, the American fans. And so I think we need to come and just shove it down their throat. You know, the Ryder Cup is something that happens only every 2 years. You know, kind of like, you know, Olympics, World Cup, it skips years. So this is big. This is big for the if you're a golf fan and you're an American and you love golf and you love America, there's no like I'm on Sunday, I'm not watching football. I'm watching this. Wow. Saturday, I'm watching this during the day. At night, I'll put football on. But, you know, there's going to be football every week for the next 10, 15, whatever it is, 20 weeks. There's not going to be the Ryder Cup for another 2 years. So I'm going to be watching that all weekend long. Is
this at a Trump course?
No, it's at Bethpage Black. It's at it's a public course that's extremely hard to get onto and extremely difficult to play. But it's not it's not an expensive or anybody can play there, but you have to camp out. It's like one of those things where they keep the prices low, but now it's like you if you want to play this course on a Saturday, they don't take tee times. You got to camp out Friday night. That's the type of course it is. Pretty unique. Not really any places like that in the country. So pretty unique course, famous course. Ton of majors have been played there. It's going to be fun. You got the best 12 Americans versus the best 12 Europeans.
Awesome. I'll have to check it out. All right. So we're doing this every Thursday.
Every Thursday, guys. I hope you keep coming back. I hope you like what I deliver and my style. And, you know, we're doing this every Thursday, but you can go to that Instagram. I think AJ is going to put it in the description. You can go to that Instagram and you can get my free plays every day. I will say, AJ, I'm excited for basketball to start because you're the NBA guy. I remember your NBA picks have always been on fire, and I don't really do NBA, so it's going to be a good mix for us.
Awesome. I'm excited, man. Have a fantastic weekend. I'm putting my money on San Diego State.
San Diego State. I really like Ole Miss, and I really like Virginia. The Army ECU game is probably my least favorite of those 4 college games. And I like the Cardinals tonight.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Who are the Cardinals playing tonight?
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Okay.
Yep. A little West Coast rivalry. It'll be fun.
A buddy of ours is on the Seahawks now, from an FAU guy. So I can't touch that game. I can't bet against him.
Ah, okay.
All right, Ted.
Cool. At least he made it to the league. That's awesome.
He did. It's awesome, especially at a FAU, right? And there's my lock this weekend. Whoever FAU is playing, I think it's Memphis. Just take Memphis minus.
Don't you kind of like represent them? Isn't that?
No, we cover them, and I'm unbiased, so you get the truth out of me.
So you call it how it is. I like that.
Always gonna suck. That football team. Now their hockey team, which is just a club team, they're national champions.
And their basketball team went to the Final Four a couple years ago.
Yeah, that'll never happen again, though. That was lightning in a bottle right there. But
what do you think it would take? Because I know FAU's made some big pushes. What do you think it would take for them to like get to that next level in football?
They can't. They don't have the money. It's money. It's money. Yeah. I sat in a coach's office last year preseason, and he's going through the whiteboard. And he's like, yeah, "This guy's only here for a year." Me being stupid, I'm like, "Oh, is he senior?" No, he's a sophomore, but somebody's going to come in and offer him $100,000 next year. We can't afford that. So they have no money.
Well, they can't afford $100,000. There's players getting millions. I mean, Carson Beck got $8 million to go to Miami for a year. So, yeah, we'll talk about that more next week because I think that's a
absolutely.
Problem right now.
Kicking it back with Matt is coming up next. So, Ted, I'll see you next week, buddy.
Take care.